Hello everyone and welcome back to another Iris on Android demonstration video. So for today's video we're going to be going over the next element in the menu list here. Last video we covered map tools and today we'll be covering the data table. So if we go ahead and press this is the screen that we're greeted with. We'll go through each of these tabs here one by one, but first of all let's discuss a bit of what's going on in front of us. So the data table, its goal is to concisely display all of the different elements of the map in a easily readable and digestible format, I guess you could say. So you can see we have a couple tabs here. We have tracks, geoshapes, free draw, pictures, geofence, and then finally correlation. So these are all the different elements you can place on the map, like I said. So a user can place tracks, a user can create geoshapes, free draws, etc. And yeah, so a coordinator or someone might be interested in keeping track of the flow of data, managing what's on the map for everyone to see, and this is just a really easy and effective way to view the tons of data that may potentially be on the map, etc., right? So I'll quickly flick through each tab here. So you can see here on the first tab we have tracks, like we discussed, geoshapes, and you can see a bit of a preview there, free draw, pictures, geofences, and then finally correlation, which we'll get back to in a minute. So we'll work our way through one by one. So on the track screen here we get a card that demonstrates what the track actually looks like, what it is, where it is, who placed it, when it was created is valid, etc., etc. So in the top left here we have a little icon displaying what the track actually looks like on the map. So this particular track is a fixed wing fighter. It's a military vehicle. So you can see those subclasses there underneath the title and the last scene. You can see the icon in the top left, and then underneath you can see some extra data about it, such as its position, its course, speed, and altitude, as well as the integration, which is who placed it. So this track was placed by myself. This is the S23 under the company Echelon device. And then, we can get some extra data if we go ahead and click show more. So for this particular track, the only additional data we have is when it was created, when it should expire, and the source it came from. So this was man-made. This was placed by me on this device, so you can see there the source is manual. In the top right, we have correlated with brackets 1, and we'll get back to that in a minute. And then we also have a little cyan bubble there, which just demonstrates, the hostility of the track. So this is obviously friendly. Cyan stands for friendly. However, if we scroll down, the next track in the list is actually a hostile, and you can see that's just demonstrated in the top right there. So from here, like I said, this displays all the different tracks on the map, so you can see as I scroll, different track types that I have placed, and you might see differing information about them as well. So this one here, for example, is actually not a manual source track, it's a tactical network track. It's demonstrating someone's position on the map itself. So that's the subclass it falls under. If I quickly scroll the rest, you can see this is what we have, right? So on the bottom right of each card, we have these two buttons here. We have what appears to be a delete button and then what appears to be somewhat of a GPS button. So obviously the delete button here just deletes the track from the list as well as the map. So as a coordinator, you might be dealing with a large data set and you don't want to actually locate each, delete it on the map, etc. You might know what needs to be cleaned up, what needs to stay. So from within the data table, you can go ahead and just click that and it'll delete it off the map, right? Next to that, we have the locate on map button. So, we show all this data to you and we even show the coordinates, but you may not know in your head what those coordinates are, right? So to quickly locate it on the map and see what data you're actually digesting, if you go ahead and click that blue button there in the bottom right, that'll point your camera to that track on the map. If we go back now, we'll move on to the next section. We'll come back to that correlated later. The next section here is geoshapes. So once again, in the top left, we actually have a preview, if you will, of the shape on the map. We have some extra details about it, specifically how many points it has, its position, who placed it, the valid state again, and then the points coordinates. Once again, we can get some additional information about this. So your geoshapes are your things like control measures, right? So that might be a maneuver area, that might be a fires area, that might be a no fires area. So underneath the call sign and preview there, you can actually see, oh, this is of subtype control measure, it's a maneuvers area, it's friendly. And in the bottom right, we have the same buttons again. Same story. The right hand side deletes, and then the locate on map button does as the name suggests. And you can see that maneuver area there. So following this, we have free draw, which is a bit of a tidier card. It displays the actual free draw shape as a preview on the left hand side. So this is just a polygon, this is just a rectangle. However, if for some reason there's a bit more of a complex shape, so let's go ahead and, for example, draw a bit of a squiggle. So this might be someone's free draw. They might have done something like that, sent it to the network, and you can see that's that free hand there. When we go back to the data table and the free draw section, you'll notice that preview is shown correctly. You'll notice it was just placed, so that's the time currently, and when it was last seen, well, it was last seen just now. And what that last seen means is actually when was that message last sent. So that was placed just now, whereas the one above it was placed 2 days ago, or 3 days ago, I should say, but it was sent 2 days ago as well. So, which brings us to our next point here, and that is that this subsection, this free draw section, has an additional button. So we once again have that locate and delete button, but we also have what displays a bit of a send as well. So I'll quickly demonstrate that we can locate, and I'll go ahead and find that rectangle we spoke about. You can see our map centers there. But we also have the ability to, for whatever reason, maybe on the rare occasion that data is desynced, or better yet, someone's actually drawn something privately, right? Because that's what we do offer to users, is that things like free drawing pictures don't actually have to go to everyone, whereas something like a track or a geoshape does. Like we just demonstrated, right? We drew that squiggly line and we sent it to only our network. But say we later change our mind and we say, well, no, me and my network agree, this is actually super important. How about we forward it to all echelons? If we go ahead and click send there, we'll get this pop up. So we can see here, this is the free draw we just placed down, and we can see who we actually want to send it to. So we've already sent it to our network, so that's not necessary. But then say we want to forward it to everyone globally, we can just select that in the list there and go ahead and click send. So you'll see once again that last scene has just updated, and it's just updated to just now. And that's because, well, we just sent it once more, right? So that data is fresh again. In the event that we want to delete it, I'll quickly show you that that's possible too. So we'll find that on the map. We can see that's our free draw, yep. And then, we've decided it was useful. We sent it to our echelon, then we sent it to all. But how about we clean up the map now? It's no longer relevant. We go ahead and just click delete. Deletes itself from the list there. And on the map, it's gone. As we move on, you'll see it's a similar design for pictures, right? So pictures don't necessarily get a title in Iris, but we do have the ability to display its coordinates as well as a bit of a preview of what you're looking at. Pictures, like I mentioned, are similar to FreeDraw in the sense that the level of exposure, if you will, or the privacy is completely dependent on the user sending it. So just because you place a picture down doesn't mean it has to be sent to everyone. So once again, we have that send button there in the data table. We can go ahead and find this to verify it's on the map. Yep, there's the picture there. And I believe when I sent this, it was actually sent to my network. So once again, let's demonstrate that we can go ahead and click send. And now we can send it to all, or for whatever reason, if we want to send it to one specific person who might belong to a different echelon, we can go ahead and just click that, select a user from our members online list, and then send directly to them. So then once again, you'll see it's last updated just now because we just sent it. The data's fresh again, right? We can verify, yep, this is still here. Or we can go ahead and delete it if we so desire, and then we can back out again and it's gone off the map. The second last tab we have here is geofences. So we may have previously discussed that when placing a track or geoshape, you also have the ability to place a geofence filter on the track. And what that means is we might want notifications of movement inside that area. So this is displaying the geoshape that is embedded underneath it as the preview. So you see that triangle in the top left. And then we also display what it's monitoring. So it's actually just monitoring all friendlies, all real friendly tracks. It's monitoring both exits and exits as enters and exits, as you can see in the top right where it says both. And its buffer distance is only 5 meters. So we might want some additional information about this geofence, and if that's the case, in the bottom right we have what appears to be a bit of a list icon, and if we go ahead and click that, it'll navigate us to the geoshapes tab, and then actually point us to the right geoshape that is underlying for that geofence. So you can see those previews line up. If we go back to the geofence now, take a look at the preview on the top left. If we go back to the geoshapes, yeah, that's actually what we're looking at, right? Or we can locate the geoshape that is underlying on the map. Well, it's this one here. And then we can verify it's actually monitoring all friendlies. Say, for example, better yet, we'll use our own location. We're a friendly unit, right? If we move ourselves manually into this geo fence, you can see we get a notification that it's breached. You can see here, we can expand that. Yep. S23 has entered at this location, right? So we can verify that that's working. Like I mentioned, it's monitoring both entries and exits. So if we move ourselves out once again, another notification there that the geofence has been triggered. So within the data table, we don't give you the option to just delete it, right? But we do give you the option to find out more data about it. And it's super useful because it's a bit hard to tell just simply on the map what does have a geofence tied to it and what doesn't, right? So you might have a lot of maneuver areas, a lot of fires areas, etc. You might have a area of interest outlined with a no fire zone. This might be a friendly base of operations or whatever it may be, and you need to know whatever comes close to it. So you might set a kilometer buffer distance. You might be monitoring only hostiles or only air hostiles. You might want to keep an eye out for drones or something like that, right? So you can configure that in the geofence, and then you can easily tell what its underlying geoshape is in the data table, where it is, whether or not it's active. You see there in the bottom left, and then the buffer distance tied to it. So then finally, the last tab we have here is correlation. So this is useful for combining tracks, if you will. So if we quickly dart back here and then locate this track on the map, you'll notice that we have two of the same track with differing call signs very close to each other. Mind you, these are demonstrating fighters on the map, and this is about a couple streets over, right? So we might be thinking, well, actually, this is a mistake. We've had two users place down what should be the same thing. So you as a coordinator, you might think, well, I don't know whose source is who's truly correct, or I don't want to upset someone by deleting or whatever. In the data table, take note of these call signs real quick, sorry. So we have a blah 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 5 and a blah 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 6. In the data table, we can see 6 there at the top of the list, and then we can see 5 at the bottom here. If we go ahead and correlation, in the correlation tab, we can see 6 again if we select that. Then if we scroll down to 5, select that. We now have the option to just merge these tracks. So clean up the data on the map there. You can see that updates the correlation tab there. You see, okay, it's actually been merged with the manual track blah blah blah. And you'll now see in the top right section there, its little paper clips shows 2. And then in the track section, once again correlated, there's actually 2 tracks correlated here. And then on the map, you'll notice that that 05 is gone from the map now, and instead it's just 06 only.